tobacco, chew tobacco, spit. Oh heck.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
No.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
No, I have not.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
Yes.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
Yes.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
Yes, I was an addict for about a week.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
No.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
Yeah.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because you're not hurting anybody else. It's not like they're gonna end up getting cancer from you chewing tobacco, so that seems pointless.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
Yes, I do believe that it should be because I think it influences other students.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
Not at all.
Why?
It doesn't cause any harm to anyone else.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
I believe that chewing tobacco shouldn't be brought to school. I think it's something you should learn all the time, and I think you should be learning at school and taking your studies seriously.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
I think students should be able to use chewing tobacco if they like. It's not like smoking where you're getting like the room all stinky and making a big mess. You can contain it to like a bottle or a spittoon.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
Yeah.
Do you believe chewing tobacco should be prohibited on school property?
Yes.
Pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
What do you picture when you think of someone who's chewing tobacco? What do you picture when you think of someone who's chewing tobacco?
I just want more chewing tobacco.
Pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
What do you picture when you think of somebody chewing tobacco?
Well, stereotypically, you see someone walking around with a water bottle and a fat lip.
What do you picture when you think of somebody who chews tobacco?
That they play hockey.
What do you picture when you think of somebody who's chewing tobacco?
Picture that guy on the Google search with his lip missing, his whole bottom jaw gone.
What do you picture when you think of somebody who's chewing tobacco?
Baseball players.
What do you picture when you think of somebody who's chewing tobacco?
Fat lip.
What do you picture when you think of somebody who's chewing tobacco? C.
I see a teenage male like yourself with a fat lip and some brown ooze coming out of their mouth, possibly dribbling or being spit somewhere.
Pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
Because it's your
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
To satisfy whatever nicotine cravings they may have.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
I've heard it gives a pretty good buzz. It's fun, it's addicting. I think there's a lot of somewhat peer pressure, I guess, involved in that because sometimes in groups of guys, one guy will be doing it and then, it becomes a majority and then it's the odd guy out and then he does it as well.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
Because it feels good.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
Because everyone wants to be as cool as Davis.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
I don't know, don't you get a high from it?
A little buzz.
Yeah.
Why do you believe people chew tobacco?
Because they become addicted.
I pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
No.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
No, not at all.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
Indirectly, I think it definitely does. I feel like people almost feel pressured by it, or so maybe some people feel uncomfortable because maybe some people feel uncomfortable because they don't really know about it, or I just think it affects students in a lot of ways indirectly.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
Not at all.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
I don't think it affects anyone else. I think it just personally affects the person or individual.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
Kind of, because say like there's someone in class who's never done it and they're kind of like willing to try it, and then someone with chewing tobacco offers them like, oh, would you want to try one? And then like they'd be like, yeah, and then could like start getting them into chewing tobacco, which is very good.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
No, I don't.
Do you think it affects other students if one is chewing tobacco on school property?
Yes, because it's a form of awareness and a form of promotion. So the same reason why people start smoking, they start smoking because someone else around them is smoking. So the same reason why teenagers start chewing tobacco is somebody else they knew was chewing tobacco. So if you reduce the number of people chewing tobacco, you reduce the likelihood that other people will start.
Pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew tobacco on school property?
Chew tobacco.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew tobacco on school property?
Definitely chew tobacco.
Why?
Because smoking has other side effects, like secondhand smoke causes cancer, whereas chewing tobacco there's no secondhand anything, so you're not getting cancer from it.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoking or doing chew on school property?
I mean, if I had to pick the lesser of the evils, I think I would say smokeless tobacco, just because there is less direct effects on the people around you. I mean, there's no secondhand smoke exposure, and people aren't getting that kind of health impediments from other people, and regardless of their choices, they're not being affected directly in that sense.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew tobacco on school property?
Personally, I'd rather somebody chew though on school property because you don't smell the chew, whereas you can smell smoke all the time.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew on school property?
Definitely chew, because the smell of smoke really grinds my gears.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew on school property?
I'd rather than chew.
If it were not prohibited, would you rather someone smoke or chew on school property?
I would have to say I would rather somebody chew on school property, because the secondhand smoke will affect others, whereas the chewing tobacco will affect only the user.
Pinched at the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
What do you believe smoke or smokeless is worse for you?
What do I think's worse?
Yeah. Do you believe smokeless or smoke tobacco is worse for you?
Probably smoke tobacco.
Smokeless?
Smoked
Okay.
tobacco.
Do you believe smoke or smokeless tobacco is worse for you?
I think, like I said, they're both evils in a sense. They affect you in different ways, and I don't think that there should be a lesser of the evils, or people should justify one by saying that it's better than the other. I've heard from a lot of people, well, smokeless is so much better, there's no secondhand smoke, there's no this, I'm not inhaling it into my lungs, but I think there's just as many health-related problems with smokeless as there is normal cigarettes.
What do you believe is worse, smoke or smokeless tobacco?
Worse for the body?
Yeah.
I could be chewing tobacco.
What do you believe is worse, smoke or smokeless tobacco?
I'm not going to put one above the other, because they're both awful for your body, but I guess smoking does affect your physical lung capacity more.
What do you believe is worse, smoke or smokeless?
Sorry?
Smoke or smokeless tobacco? What do you believe is worse?
Smokeless?
What do you believe is worse, smoke or smokeless tobacco?
Unfortunately, I don't have the data to say which is worse long term, so I'm going to err on the side of ignorance and say smoking, but I can't be positive about that.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
Why don't we chewing tobacco?
Yeah, it's not allowed on school property.
Just tobacco.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
I have no idea.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
Like I said before, I think it influences students indirectly. I feel like one student can encourage a number of students to become either addicted or involved in that kind of those habits. I think also it could make other students uncomfortable. I think that teachers might feel distracted or uncomfortable by it, and I think there's a lot of repercussions both on students and staff of the school.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
I don't know, only because it's a tobacco product.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
Thought all tobacco products were just prohibited, so
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
The government stuff.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
Because it's just like any other drug.
Why do you believe smokeless tobacco is prohibited on school property?
Because like tobacco, it's a tobacco product like anything else. Students under the age of 18 shouldn't be using it, shouldn't be purchasing it, shouldn't be distributing it, and at the same time it promotes other people from using it. They see somebody using something.
Inch to the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
Do you think chew is more popular in sports?
I definitely say that boys who partake in certain sports are more prone to being involved in those types of things, and there definitely is a stereotype with baseball, hockey, those types of sports where it's big groups of boys that are all taking part in this kind of activity after a game or before a game or something like that.
Do you think chew is more popular in sports?
Yes,
Why?
because it gives you a better buzz than cigarettes.
Do you think chew is more popular in sports?
yeah, I think sports give it more of a different kind of image, especially hockey players, baseball players, such as that.
Do you believe smokeless tobacco is more popular in sports?
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Do you think chew is more popular in sports?
Yes.
Do you think chew is more popular in sports?
In sports,
Yeah.
than cigarette smoking?
Yes.
I would say so. You do not see very many athletes publicly smoking, yet you do see them from time to time chewing tobacco.
Inch to the max, just bought a Kodiak. Roll a G in your lip.
Do you think there should be a change?
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a change?
Yes.
Do you think there should be a change?
Right now, I don't think there's much of an issue that I've seen in our school personally, but I also don't think that it should be permitted on school property or that should change in any way.
Do you think there should be a change?
No.
Do you think there should be a change?
I think it's not like an epidemic or anything to really think about right now, so I don't see a big deal.
Do you believe there should be a change? Do you think there should be a change?
I don't know, we're pretty good right now, I find. Like chewing tobacco is not allowed on school property, I think. So, I don't know, I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Do you think there should be a change?
None of that.
I'm a dipper, yeah, I'm a dipper. I'm a dipper, yeah, I'm a dipper. I need